How's it going, everyone? Alex Turri here, and this is Turri's Lockup Week 3. Sorry we missed last week. Was a little sick, but we're going to move on. After the first week, started out 0-3. I was worried. Robert was worried. Everybody was worried. I was really worried more so than anybody else. Ended up 6-4. Beautiful. Over 50%. I love it. Got a lot of hate from people at home still, but we're going to move on anyway, and it is going to be a good week for us. But at the same time, the first game is very worrisome for me. So we're going to start out with UNC at +3 and Wake Forest at -3. I didn't like UNC. Made that very clear. They kind of proved me wrong a little bit in week 1 and week 2. Undefeated right now, but I think Newman is the better quarterback in this matchup, so I'm going to take Wake Forest at -3 there. Moving on, we have BC is favored by 21 points against Kansas. I don't know if you guys have seen Kansas this year, but they are really, really bad. BC is more of a run-oriented offense. I get that. 21 points is a lot. But I see A.J. Dillon scoring 3 touchdowns alone by himself this week. I'm going to have to give that to BC. Moving on, we have Virginia Tech at Furman, 21.5. These 21-point games are really tough for me. I think this is just a tough week in general because there's a lot of deep spreads. Like 21.5 points is a lot. But at the same time, it's NC State versus Furman. I mean, I don't see Furman being able to put up more than 7, 10, maybe 14 points. 14 at the max. NC State scores 48 here, I think. So I'm going to give that one to NC State. Next, we have, Georgia Tech at the Citadel. Yet again, like 26.5 points favored for Georgia Tech. I don't think Georgia Tech's offense is that good. I really don't. They have so many questions at quarterback. Their third string looked just as good as both of the people who are getting considered for starter. I just think there's a lot of messes and a lot of things you want to avoid with Georgia Tech, especially this year when it comes to spread. So I'm actually going to take the Citadel in that one, which, surprise, surprise, maybe surprises some people. I don't think that's a surprise. I think that's a lock. Moving on, we have Louisville and Western Kentucky. Louisville is favored by 10 points, and this was very close to being my lock of the week, but I'm going to avoid that as my lock of the week. Still going to take Louisville here at -10. Western Kentucky isn't the same team they were when they had Brandon Doty at quarterback. It's been 3, maybe 4 years now since he's been around, and they just haven't been very impressive. I think that Louisville is an improved team. They've looked good through the first 2 weeks. Also, Juwan Pass isn't bad either. I think Juwan Pass is going to have a huge game. I think this might be his breakout game for the year, so I'm going to give that one to Louisville in a landslide. Now, my big avoid of the week, we have Miami against Bethune Cookman. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm sorry. I've honestly never heard of your school. But at the same time, Miami is favored by 41. 41 points is a lot. That is, how many scores is that? That's a ton of scores. I could probably count that honestly right now, but I'm not going to count it. We're going to, like 8, 7, whatever. Anyway, that's a lot of points. At the same time, like I'm saying before, who is Bethune Cookman? I'm not very familiar on them. I had to research them a little bit. Looks like they can get it done against FCS teams, but Miami's a different beast. I'm going to have to ride with Miami on this one, on covering, but that is easily my avoid of the week. I would stay away from Miami. Here's another one of my favorites. We have Duke favored at 6.5 against Middle Tennessee. I wasn't very high on Duke from the first video, as some people may remember, but wow, I mean, if you watch them against Bama, it may not have looked like much, but Quentin Harris actually looked like a good quarterback. There were many plays that his receivers could have made that a lot closer of a game than it was. So I really do think Harris has the capability to not make this Duke team a 8, 9-win team, but a 6-win team. It's definitely possible. So Harris at -6.5 with Duke. Let's send that one. Definitely going to send that one. Another one I like, actually, towards the end, we got a lot of these ones that I like. They start getting more favorable with the spreads. Like Virginia is favored by 7 points against Florida State. This is just like Zeke, feed me UVA. That is, Bryce Perkins is better than any player in Florida State. You could say Cam Akers is great, cool. You could say Blackman could throw the ball a little bit, that's great. This is the first time I'm actually coming in and feeling confident when I say Virginia is scary. Their defense is showing up, and Perkins is a stud. He's leading the team in rushing and passing, and I don't think that's changing. So I'm gonna take UVA there, and I think everybody else should as well. Clemson. Clemson's favored by 27.5 against Syracuse. Week 1 hurt. 50-yarder for BT Potter. BT. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I'm happy about it. Like, good for you. That was great. We need that. But come on, man. Come on. Come on. You can't kill spreads like that. That one hurt. And that's why I hate taking Clemson a lot of these. And hate going against Clemson a lot of these. I just hate touching Clemson games in general. But 27.5 against Syracuse. If you watch the Maryland game against Syracuse, DeVito did not look good. And I was high on him earlier in the season. That's the one thing with coming up to week 1s is you don't know with a lot of these people. I think we can see what DeVito can do now, and it's not a lot. Maryland dismantled that defense too. So we got to ride Clemson there. ETN's going to look and bounce back after a slower game. Ride Clemson. It's close. It's close. Don't get me wrong, 27.5, but ride Clemson. Lastly, my Turri lock of the week, baby. Lock it in. We're going to call Maryland at 7 versus Temple. They're favored by 7 against Temple. Like I said, did we not see what they just did to Syracuse, who was ranked at the time? Josh Jackson, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still having problems with his completion percentage. He's kind of towards the lower 60s, not even, probably mid-50s, honestly. He's throwing a lot of balls. But at the same time, they have 3 running backs that can all run for 100 yards on any given day. There's actually a point, I saw this tweet today. By the time that, and I looked at the schedule too, and I actually agree, looking at Maryland's schedule, by the time they go to week 8 and match up with Michigan, at home, they might be undefeated. I honestly think that. Like, this offense is good, and there's not a lot of competition on the roster. So they might be a couple locks later too, but right now, lock in Maryland, 7 against Temple. That's all we're going to have for you today. This is Turri's Lockup. Thank you. I'll see you next